The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Health Department reports more than 300 new COVID-19 cases, the highest in almost 2 months. We have DOH spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergere with us over the phone to discuss the data further. Good afternoon, Yusek Vergere. Do we know the reason behind this increase in COVID-19 cases?
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. We just like to say that there are a lot of factors that we are trying to consider with this increase in the number of cases. First would be the entry of the subvariants of Omicron here in the country. We all know that we have already detected BA2.12.1, BA.4, and BA.5, which were all reported to be more transmissible than the original Omicron variant. The second would be we have our mobility patterns, which are already considered as pre-pandemic already, the mobility patterns here in the country. And part of that also would be the waning immunity among our population, whereby the uptake of booster doses is very low at this point.
All right. What about the status of hospital bed utilization now that, we are seeing an uptick in cases, 308 cases more to be specific. How are hospitals now? Are there a lot of cases currently confined?
Actually, when we look at the number of hospital admissions at this point, yes, there are slight increases, but it is still at that point where we are not supposed to panic, and the number of cases, the increase in cases has not translated into increased admissions yet, and also the number of severe and critical cases are not going high. So the population has to understand that we all need to live with the virus, meaning if there would be no severe or critical cases, or the severe and critical cases are low, and hospitals will not be full, and then we are okay, and we can just continue to practice our minimum public health standards to further prevent transmission in the population.
All right. With regards to the number of cases, which regions or cities in particular are seeing an uptick in cases? Is it mostly in the NCR?
Well, it is not just the National Capital Region where we are seeing increase in cases. When we talk about increase in cases, these are not yet significant number of increase in the different regions of the country. We now have about 7 regions wherein we have now escalated to low-risk case classification compared to before that they were at the minimal risk, because there has been this increase in the positive growth rates, and also the number of cases have increased. But as I've said, it is not significant. If you look at the number of increases, this would just be around 20 to 30 cases in every area, except for NCR.
All right. And what would be the indicators or metrics that would prompt the government to declare alert level 2?
Well, in our alert level system in the country, we have different metrics. And foremost in our metrics would be the number of cases first, and the second would be healthcare utilization. So now that we are seeing that the number of cases have increased in other areas of the country, we are now closely monitoring our hospital use, because the bed use or the healthcare utilization, if this increases and this goes up to that moderate level of consumption or utilization in the hospitals, and then we will need to escalate areas which will have this kind of classification.
All right. And during this specific increase that we are seeing now, I'm not going to call it a surge, how many cases are we expecting to record during the peak?
Well, we are not having this surge. As I've said, there is no significant increase yet, although it has increased. And of course, we are trying to closely monitor, because in the previous, we only had low cases. And now that we are seeing this slow increase in cases, we need to be closely monitoring this. So there are projections that have been done by our experts, wherein they say we have the scientific assumptions that we have included, where if the booster uptake remains to be at this level wherein it is very low, and also if, of course, minimum public health standards will be reduced, the compliance to this, and the waning immunity that is being observed because of this low booster uptake, they are projecting that by the start of August of this year, there would be increase in the number of hospitalizations, and we are looking at around 7,000 cases per day in the National Capital Region. But just to clarify to our population, these are projections. This is not cast in stone. We use this so that we can better prepare, and it can guide our planning also.
All right, speaking of preparation and planning, Yusek Vergere, what should we do now apart from, of course, strictly adhering to the minimum public health standards? Should people really pursue getting their booster shots at the moment for those who have not gotten their first boosters?
Yes, that is what we are recommending to the population because there had been studies already that our vaccines, our primary series, the first and the second dose, had been affected by this Omicron variant, meaning the immunity that we have received from our primary series has been reduced to lower numbers. That's why we need to have our boosters, and based on the study, we can up our immunity to as much as 81% against severe infections and deaths if we receive our booster shots. So now that our population, there are a lot of eligible population for us here in the country for the booster shots. We have about 54 million, and only about 25% of these 54 million have received their booster shots. So just imagine 75% of this eligible population are becoming vulnerable again to severe illnesses and deaths.
All right, thank you for taking the time out of your day to explain all those things to us. DOH spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergere over the phone. Thank you, ma'am. In other news, Vice President-elect Sara Duterte has confirmed the attendance of one former president for her inauguration on June 19. Duterte Carpio said Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Chairman Emeritus of her party Lakas CMD, has committed to attend the ceremony. Meanwhile, outgoing VP Leni Robredo has begged off since she will be in Naga on that day for an activity. As for Sara's father, President Duterte, and President-elect Bongbong Marcos, there is no word yet on whether they will take part in the event. We'll be back with more stories after this quick break. Stay with us here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. President Duterte thanked the Japanese government for funding Metro Manila's first subway project that is targeted for completion by 2027. Camille Samonte with the report.
President Duterte led the lowering of the tunnel boring machine for the Metro Manila subway project, the same day that the country was commemorating its 124th Independence Day. This is the first underground rail system in the country. In his speech, Duterte thanked the Japanese government for funding the Metro Manila subway project through the Japan International Cooperation Agency.
I cannot seem to fathom the love of the Japanese people for this republic. There are so many projects going on in the country and being pushed and sponsored by the JICA. Until now, Japan has continued to help us to the extent that yung ibang Davao City, the new highway and bridge and everything, it would seem really that we are a part of the Japanese government.
Japanese ambassador to the Philippines, Koshikawa Kazuhiko, said the project is a testament of the strong alliance between the Philippines and Japan.
And we feel more than honored to be a major part of the Philippine government in its bid to provide more comfortable and convenient life to as many Filipinos as possible through the infrastructure development.
Also present in the event was outgoing Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gatchalian. He said that once the subway is completed, it will open more business and job opportunities for the city.
Dati-rati ho, pag sinabing Valenzuela City, they would always say, ang layo. But because of your build programs and vision, Valenzuela City is no longer the backwaters of NCR, but rather your programs have opened us to lots of investments and a lot of job opportunities.
The tunnel boring machine will be used to excavate the soil and construct up to 12 meters of tunnels. The machine will make the process of tunneling faster, while significantly reducing above-ground disruption during construction. The Metro Manila subway is a 33-kilometer underground rail line stretching from Valenzuela City to Naia Terminal 3 in Pasay City. The subway will have 17 underground stations in some areas in Metro Manila. The subway project aims to cut the travel time between Quezon City and Naia from over an hour to just 35 minutes. Once completed, the subway is expected to accommodate up to 370,000 passengers per day. The country's first Metro Manila subway is expected to be completed by 2027. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Land Transportation Office has revoked the license of the SUV driver who ran over a security guard in Mandaluyong City. Based on the LTO's records, the driver has been apprehended 3 times for reckless driving in 2010, 2015, and 2016. Oil companies will once again jack up pump prices starting tomorrow, Tuesday, June 14. Diesel prices will see a 4 peso and 30 centavo per liter increase, while gas prices will go up by 2 pesos and 15 centavos a liter. Kerosene will also be pricier by 4 pesos and 85 centavos a liter. Bus operators are asking for a fare hike to offset the impact of soaring oil prices. The Provincial Bus Operators Association said a petition for a 30 centavo per kilometer increase will be filed this week. On top of higher fuel costs, toll fees and higher prices of spare parts have also been specified as additional reasons for the increase. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.